Welcome back, everybody, and we'll get underway with Space Station versus Rogue here. Thank you so much for your patience. Now, we speculated that it would likely be Lion, Maestro, and Mira being banned. And would you look at that? First ban is going to go to Space Station, and they're going to ban Lion. Who's up next?
Glaz.
Oh, we also speculated maybe Maverick.
Yeah, but Maverick not making it in here, that means that he will be available to be played on a map like Villa. Very powerful operator to have. However, so is Glaz. So getting rid of him, definitely a good move there. Mira, as predicted, will also go down, leaving probably a Maestro, maybe something like an Echo as well. Powerful ban here. But we'll see. As it is Space Station's choice, they're taking their time with it. Something we don't actually see a whole lot of. Most teams tend to just leap straight into their bans, just to say, hey, we're going to ban this because we know we want it gone. But they're taking every second they possibly can to think about this one. It's going to be an Echo. So, one of the two most prominent indirect denials gone in those yokai drones. And now, we will see the match actually start up. So, Space Station defense, they will go to Aviator, which is the typical first site on this map. And the lineup from Rogue is very standard. They have chosen to bring a Habana rather than a Thermite, as they often do, as many teams often do. Maverick will be 6-picked into by Easily in lieu of a Thatcher, which makes a whole lot of sense. Maverick can do the same job as Thatcher to an extent. In that he can deny bandit tricking and mute jammers on walls by simply torching them open and shooting those. But more importantly, he is going to allow for another hard destructor to be in play, and he can cut off certain angles that can be very useful for the defenders and deny really strong anchor positions. That's the great strength of Maverick, and that's why you would usually see him banned, especially on a map like Villa, as we did see him banned earlier today when we saw Villa Mouse versus Obey.
I don't think you get that one back, Chala.
Big whoops.
That's a big whoops.
Still going to be useful cam, though, until it possibly gets shot.
I mean, if it gets spotted. It might not get spotted, but I mean, more importantly, it might not get the coverage that he wants or needs.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. When you place a camera, sometimes the angles can be a little bit weird. It's important to remember that the actual camera on the model of the camera, like where your view is like very much in front of the actual evil eye. It's not in the camera, so the positioning can be a little bit odd. But I don't think where hit landed is going to hurt their visual, given that I think he was trying to get it actually inside, a little bit higher up, with more cover around it.
Well, I mean, it does stick out a little bit more. I think that's that's the big thing there. So
either way. So Rogue droning downstairs, they're looking to clear out the roamers. As we've seen this be the strategy from many teams recently on this site is, hey, take the bottom floor, start opening up from below, do a lot of damage, and disable mirror windows if they're in play. But of course, Mira is banned here. Well, actually, yes, she is. So it's not going to be irrelevant, but you could still do, you can still take care of positions like the bar. If there's any anchors over there, you can just push them all the way out, and that's a very strong thing to do because we've seen how useful that bar can be as the last bastion for defense.
Yes. So, vertical play, you've got Shuttle playing the buck here. Mentioned that Thinking Nate is capable of fulfilling that role on Space Station side of things as well, so both teams quite comfortable with that soft destruction role. Rogue also, a lot of times you will see them run possibly a Zofia in conjunction with the rest of the team, possibly even a Sledge if need be. One of the few teams also that reliably runs a Capitao more rounds on a lot of maps than they don't. And speaking of Capitao, you're going to see a little bit of a fire arrow get there. Oh, Thinking Nade easily tries to go through the wall with that blowtorch, and he's just going to pop right out, and goodbye Maverick. So even though that blowtorch, quite quiet, Thinking Nade had his listening ears on and able to pounce on Easily, taking the Maverick down with a shotgun blast.
That's a pretty substantial outplay there from Thinking Nade. And downstairs, meanwhile, Chow is going to eliminate Slash, who is trying to clear the roamers by himself. No drone support to gather that information on the Valkyrie. And now Rogue find themselves in a 3 versus 5. Not an enviable position, to be sure.
A grenade tossed over the wall, and Rogue will have to swing for the fences here. But oh no! It looks like the Hibana hole just blocking both of those projectiles. And, yep, I think Rogue has discovered. I don't know if they're going to be able to go through there or not. Thinking Nade will toss a smoke grenade that will get held up and choke them out. Possibly be some visual bugs here as well, as they can't seem to get through that wall.
Neither can they get through it, nor can their nades. And Rogue seem to be getting shredded as they attempt to push elsewhere. Super will get a TK, and now they're going to push into the hallway. It's all up to Super with little HP, and he'll be finished off by Rampy.
So Space Station will take the first round, and a bit of a strange end there, all things considered, but it was still a lockout for Space Station. There you go, you see the pulse working up those stairs.
All aside, I think the entire setup from Rogue surrounding that wall, we've seen this actually, we saw it in the Mouse versus Obey matches, trying to push in through that bar wall can be very dangerous, especially when you still have a smoke in play. Uneasily was the attempted counter for Thinking Nade's smoke by the bar, but he was unsuccessful. And because of his lack of success, Rogue could not dislodge the smoke, and because of not being able to dislodge the smoke, they also could not push through that wall. And that basically threw their entire attack into disarray and resulted in a pretty easy hold for Space Station. Now they're going to go over to Trophy, the typical secondary site for this map.
I'm interested to see how this map shakes out. I like Villa. I've got a soft spot for it. I think it's, in terms of aesthetics, it's really, really nice. I do think that Ubisoft's claim that it is one of the most competitive maps ever does seem to ring pretty true, because we haven't really been able to determine if the map is more attacker or defender favored, at least not quite yet. As well, extremely susceptible to operator bans. Because there isn't really a designed rhythm or routine of this map, there's a lot of differences that you can see. Very small, some of them requiring a lot of look at the nuance, but other times pretty obvious. Example, a mirror gun, a thermite ban. They affect every map, obviously, but they completely change sites here. Similar to Coastline. I think Coastline inhabits a very similar role to Villa. So excited to see what Villa shakes out to be as teams continue to experiment with it.
Definitely agree on that point. Slash Ugg and Super will be the two players on Rogue appointed to clear out the basement. They will have already effectively droned out most of it and determined that they can make that push happen. Shuttle also seemingly trying to come in through Memorial Room. This is a decent push, but it seems like Rogue are trying to clear every inch of the building. And I gotta say, Villa's a pretty big building to attempt that with. So clearing out the basement, clearing out that underneath the site, you know, it's gonna take some time. Does not appear to be a heavy emphasis placed on any roamers either. There are some on the far south side, as you can see, and those that singular roamer, I believe, is going to be able to late flank potentially, as well as Valkyrie on the middle stairs. I want to say yes, Chala indeed playing the middle stairs. As you can see, he's just waiting for that push from Slash from just below. And other than that, it's mostly anchors. And Rampy is actually going to join up with Chala on those stairs, calling out any potential heartbeats. I don't think Slash has gone up high enough. He might have just now come up high enough to be detected by the heartbeat detector. And that will give out information to Chala, who will just hold on to the position.
Just sitting and waiting with this gadget-heavy lineup that we see at a Space Station. Obviously, this is a great pick for an IQ here. Being able to spot all the gadgets. There's basically Smoke is the only one who will be largely undetected by it. Of course, with Brian, you've got the 3 ADSs as well.
This is the complication with the way that Rogue is trying to play it, though. You can see that Slash is just holding an angle from over towards Piano. There's no one there, but he can't know that because it's so much for your droners to drone out, which means now he's in a position where he has to hold and wait and accomplish almost nothing in the time that he's doing that.
So droning inside a bathroom is a good time to get on drones, possibly help Slash out, but it won't be too long left as there's Rampy finishing that one off. And Rogue finds themselves once again battling from behind. Rampy is pushed up to statuary room wall, now waiting to see if there's going to be an entry here through this newly opened hatch. Easily will get the kill on as Maverick onto Brian. That's the former member. And it might actually be the first time that these two have taken an engagement against one another simply because they used to be former teammates. Great C4 there, and Rampy will do the work himself. He's picking up his second kill as Redeemer gets one, Eclipse had gotten one on Acella earlier, and now Rampy hears the push onto the stairs, the buck of Shuttle. Shuttle with the skeleton key out tries to go for the fight, but obviously just simply outranged. Shuttle will be felled by Redeemer, and Rampy will pick up his third kill, and it's a full house, as that's 3 kills for Rampy and 2 for Redeemer. for Space Station to take their second round, and we'll see a new site, possibly kitchen or downstairs in the living room for round number 3.
I love what I just saw from Rampy there, trusting his teammate to hold the main stairs, coming off of that fight with the buck of Shuttle, and just falling back into Statuary, choosing to hold the site. And the coordination from Space Station in that round was impeccable. Meanwhile, Rogue were trying to clear friggin' everything. And there seemed to be some surgical precision to it. However, it was like trying to butcher some meat with, a scalpel. It's just not enough. You need to focus up your attack and, to push from one area. Pick something, anything. But they were trying to clear from the basement up to the middle stairs, or otherwise referred to as red stairs. And ultimately, that whole push, I think, was why they didn't have enough manpower when they were coming in through Master. I think a big part of it was, of course, trying to deny C4s from below to their Master players, which is fair. But then why is Slash clearing from the basement through red stairs? Why not just have him come with Shuttle in through the side entrance window into Memorial? I don't know why. Either way, it left Slash a little bit far field, unable to help his teammates, and ultimately led to Space Station being able to hold out from the Master onslaught. Now this is interesting. We're seeing a defense of the off-site, the least defended site on this entire map.
I believe it's living room and library is the official title for it, though I'd imagine teams have probably different names than you'd anticipate.
It's got the two very nondescript rooms. I mean, the most describable is, of course, that library.
Yes. And once again, the clear is going to come in through the study, so you've got Rogue with 3 bodies right now on top of that balcony over by the study, and they'll go right inside as 2 drones work down either sides of the map just to give some clearance here for both Shuttle as well as Eclipse. And you'll see them continue to drone, both Slash and Super. Now, here's an interesting thing that has happened with Shuttle joining this team is that Slash, who oftentimes previously would be tasked with getting a lot of the kills, if not most of the kills, alongside Eclipse to a certain extent, possibly Brian fulfilling that role as well. Slash has moved on to more of a supporter, a secondary role when we find him on attack, doing an inordinate amount of droning. And there you go. He finally falls off of that drone, and now you can see him creeping up ever so delicately towards the building with, presumably, his gadget out to try and detect any gadgets. And Rampy is the one who's going to likely be spotted first things first. Shuttle taking up a lot of space downstairs. He's very far on his own here, inside a bicycle storage, just over by the window, positioned in the room.
Slash has been doing a lot of that. We have been seeing that, and while Rampy is playing Pulse, we've also not seen him use his heartbeat detector very much. Rampy has been keeping it in his pocket for the most part, and that's not going to help out the IQ very much. Shuttle opening up in gun vault, pardon me, to try and get some information on the defenders below him, and he will be successful in that endeavor, forcing a lot of them to relocate. This is a good position to hold. He has cut off one of those important rotations in that little vault that's next to the library.
SSG having to double up here as easily dumps in 1 asphyxiating bolt just to maybe try and cut somebody off from behind that northern desk inside a living room and inside of library. Brian will get kill number 1 on the Slash. That's the IQ that's been felled off of Rogue. Both Easily and Shuttle have taken some damage and is scared easily off with that Evil Eye. So Redeemer trying to use his Evil Eye cams as much as possible. A double kill for Rogue as Super and Shuttle will pick one up, and Shuttle will pick up his second kill. And Space Station Gaming finding themselves in dire straits. Plant going down, and Redeemer will go for 2 big kills for Redeemer 3! Oh my goodness! Puts himself at a 1v1 against Shuttle. Diffuser needs to go down, and Redeemer with the clutch! My, what a play from Redeemer. Redeem the dream. How many times have we seen him take over games? You hear an echo, but Maestro ends up seeing all. What a play.
Wow. Redeemer pushed into the crossfire that 2 Rogue players were holding, and the player from above that was Shuttle was unable to help. And there was another disabled. So we had 2 players out of that 1 versus 4, but still 2 in it. And after those 2 in it lost The cover was gone. The third was dispatched thanks to an easy, kill on the fuse planter, and then from there it was just a 1 versus 1. But still beautifully played for Redeemer.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Everything went his way, and Space Station now are in a 3-0 lead over Rogue. I mean, I think we all expected this match to be close, and it very well still could be. But wow, that was a lot of momentum that Rogue were building up to that just got stifled. And I gotta say, gotta take a step back here. First of all, props again to Redeemer for the clutch. You can't take it away from him. Second, though, Rogue's attack strategy there was freaking beautiful. I really do like the way they were conducting themselves. They cleared the top floor. After they did that, using the buck beautifully, cutting off rotation into the vault that's next to library through the gun vault, and 2 different vaults, but they did manage to cut off that rotation. And after they did that, they used the Capital Firebolts and the smokes to deny anyone in the site inside of B the direct denial of the defuse plant. Unfortunately, their timing was really poor, and those firebolts and smokes both expired, allowing Redeemer to go for that wide peek and get those kills. But the idea behind the strategy there for Rogue was great, and I gotta commend them for one reason. That's the offsite. That's where people typically do not go. So the fact that they had a strategy in hand to deal with it means they're covering all their bases.
Yeah. And I mean, let's also keep in mind that Redeemer single-handedly shut down the plant.
Yeah.
After all of that was invested, it was literally just a wide peek from Redeemer to take out the plant, and then also easily in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
And the best round that Rogue has put on the board so far will end in heartbreak for their fans and for the team. And Rogue will once again clear in through the study. But because of the way that the site rotation works, we head back to Aviator, which is a site that Space Station Gaming had won before. And Space Station Gaming actually winning every single site they've gone on. They'll forego Kitchen, at least for the time being. They still have one more round to potentially go there, but the conclusion of this round, no matter what, Trophy will also unlock for them. Now, this was a hole in the wall that had proved to be quite difficult for Rogue in the past. It looked like there was an impact trick that might have happened there, but the only one running impacts would have been Thinking Nade. It does definitely seem like those X-Kairos just did not go off, and there you have it, Thinking Nade, with the impact grenades to take out those X-Kairos.
Yeah, so today, of the 2 matches we've seen Villa played, and the 4 teams that have gone here, 3 on attack so far, every team that has tried to attack through this wall has been unsuccessful. This push right here just hasn't been working out for anyone yet. But it seems to be the meta right now. And Rogue do have some really good tools to make this work. They have the Capital, and more importantly, I think, they have the Ying. So that push is going to likely be much more successful. Here it comes. Slash throwing his Candelas in, looking for some angles, and he will find Redeemer, who's just spraying onto the doorway. Shuttle also gets Thinking Nade as he pushes from elsewhere. There's still a pulse downstairs. C4 in hand, he could potentially help his team quite a lot, but easily is now hunting him down, taking the place of Slash. The diffuser has gone down. Shuttle will get his 2nd kill. Chala downstairs able to get 1 though, and it's just the 2 roamers who will have to come back and retake onto a diffuser planted situation. C4 from below. Rampy will get super. Meanwhile, Chala doing a lot of damage to Eclipse, but unable to win the fight, putting him on half HP. The pre-fire is clear that Rampy is known. As he comes up those main stairs, he will now have to incur more and more pre-fires from these LMG-equipped operators. Shuttle gets the final kill in his 3rd in the round. Rampy goes down. Rogue will take their very first.
And they double up on the LMGs as well, which just gives you so much reserve ammo, especially with Zofia and Ying. Yeah, you get loaded utility you're loaded to the gills with utility, but look at the immense amount of suppressing fire that Rogue was able to lay in there on the retake. You gotta dare Rampy at that point, or anybody really who's trying to retake to the site to try to get through the bullets, Matrix style, and you can't quite dance around them as well as Keanu Reeves can. Rampy ended up getting felled by the doorway of Vault, and that was it. And Rogue, who looked like they would be able to put their first round on the board last round, will do so in pretty good time. Space Station Gaming will go back to Aviator for round number 5. And as you noted, it was a site that they won the first time around. They lost just recently. Things that they can do differently this time. Well, they got bamboozled and pushed pretty fast. And they didn't even need to focus too much on that one wall that caused Rogue so much trouble last time around.
I like the way that Space Station are opening up the floor. right in front of the walls in study. The reason they're doing that, of course, is to prevent thermite charges from being placed on the floor, which can can get you around the impact trick. It's the only way to do it with thermite, but you know, most teams are bringing Hibana these days because of that impact tricking, especially on walls like that. Now, the kit that Rogue brought in that last round was perfect. The fact that they managed to make that attack work for them, again, that's the first time we've seen that today. So I gotta commend Rogue again for doing something we haven't seen yet, today at least. Now, will it work a second time? I gotta say it's unlikely. Oh no, oh, okay. I was imagining that was something else. The pulse was in that location, but he did not have the heartbeat detector out. So we've actually been seeing this a lot. I touched on it earlier. Rampy has been playing pulse, but he has not been using that heartbeat detector very much. He's been using it mostly around when the actual site push is coming out. And to help his roam, he's basically just positioning himself properly. You can see right now he's going to be on those astronomy doors, and he will fall back immediately after being pressured.
Slash has just taken up all of Astro and now in statuary, as he has only took him 1 Candela to accomplish that. But just to his left, there's going to be an engagement sitting on the main stairs to see if he can get through here. There's also a Valkyrie of Chala that's going to be blinded out. Tosses a C4, and Brian will be able to get a little bit of Slash, but just a handful, not quite all of it. Slash will once again take some more damage as Chala on those stairs as Valkyrie using the C4 had been found by Shuttle, and Shuttle putting that LMG to pretty good use, being able to take them out. Once again, Rogue running this double LMG combo on both the Ying as well as the Zofia. And Slash has just 1 Candela left at his disposal. So some good utility used, but unfortunately only able to net 1 kill with that 1 Candela, and that went to his teammate Shuttle.
I like the strategy here from Rogue. It's a bit one-dimensional, but it is also a shift. And this is the type of shift we were talking about earlier. You know, maybe see something a little bit different. They're going to establish control over 90, which is a very powerful position to have. You can see Slash is on 90 right now. That's the corner of the hallways. And Redeemer will look for a kill. You can see he's hungry for more after that clutch earlier in the match. But it's not going to bear any fruit as he peeks there. You can see the vaults being opened up by Super right now, and he will establish that rotation in the attacker's favor. Brian Doe takes out easily, so Space Station continues to fight back. As Brian is playing aggressively inside of B, Slashug is going to go down to him. You can see it's an easy hold here for the Jaeger. He has the right gun for it, and his position is being called out. The C4 will kill the player behind that wall, but Brian also will get eclipsed as he attempts to push in. Shuttle the last attacker now, and it's just not going to happen. Space Station lock out Rogue entirely. 4-1 now, Space Station's favor. This is a very successful defensive half.
I need to stop saying that this match, any match, is going to be like the most coveted match, the most hotly anticipated fight of the century, because I think I said that in the Space Station C9 match, and Space Station 6-0'd them. And then I look here and I'm like, oh, Rogue Space Station. They're the 3rd and 4th place team. This is going to be a hell of a tussle. Wrong so far. I mean, it's been a very exciting match to watch, but what I meant was it's probably going to be really close. And so far, man, Space Station looking incredible right now. 4-1, great reads. Rogue's entry has been shut down every single time. They seem to be scrambling to adapt mid-round. They can't really get their execute off appropriately. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was. You saw that last round in particular. Brian had a great individual effort. The round before that Space Station won, the 3rd round. Great individual performance from Redeemer. You know, like, it's very difficult. And Dally, the coach of Space Station, even said this. When one of the players gets really, really hot, they can take over an entire game. Look no further than the matchup we just saw between SK and C9, and ask how Laxbeard, as you called him, did. Yeah. On attack, he took over the second half of that game, and there was no real chance for his team to lose at all. There was a lockout.
I know it kind of goes without saying, but if one of your players is winning all of his fights, then you have such a leg up, and that seems to be happening right now with Space Station. We'll get back into the action right now, but all of that being said, That was the first half. Now we're going to the second half. It is entirely possible, and we've seen this before. We saw it, in fact, in the game you referenced yourself, SK versus C9, when the side swapped, C9 woke up, they started winning in that second half. This could be the opportunity for Rogue. Is it simply a defense-favored situation? One thing I will say is that Rogue's roam clear was non-existent. They were trying, but oh boy, did they see middling success. So I think now that Rogue doesn't need to do that, now that they can concert their efforts and they can just focus on winning their fights and holding the site, they might be able to recover this match still. However, if they want to win, they will need to win all of the rounds following. So that's a tall task.
Yes.
That'll be 5 in a row.
I mean, you said the same thing, but that's a good start. Eclipse gets fed right to the end of the Scar rifle from Rampy.
Jeez, that's...
A minute and 15 seconds in, you've lost a roamer. Not the end of the world, but that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, the roamer's doing so much work for Space Station when they were on defense, and now one of them immediately shut down. Well, not immediately. A minute. I say immediately too much. A minute into the round, but still, a lot of pressure applied to Rogue, and as Space Station coming from the Master, they're actually going to not have any ADSs inside of B. Kind of interesting that. Slash is going to be peeking wide, trying to catch his opponent unaware. He might be successful here, but he doesn't actually land his shots. Brian only eating half of his HP in damage, and he will dish the same onto Slash, slightly less, but still, that was an opportunity missed for the smoke.
Yeah, it was rough going now, and Slash losing a lot of HP, but also Space Station quite softened up with Redeemer and Brian being low.
Yeah.
Brian will probably play that Zofia every round, unless they possibly toss him on the Ashe, which we've seen from him before. He's got a lot more flexibility, typically on defense, but they used him on that Jaeger for pretty good effectiveness so far. Brian, on that Zofia, finds Slash. The final bit of Smoke's HP will be taken away at the hands of the Polish attack operator. And now Chala has a great line of sight. Rampy being lit up quite heavily. He's still got one rifle shield left. He'll try to go for a flash. A big play here from Shuttle. He could capitalize, but no! Shuttle will soften up a lot, but they don't fall like dominoes. And this is a big play, but easily on the Maestro. 15 seconds left. Marks from his teammate. He'll head towards the main stairs. Diffuser goes down. It's a 1v4. Technically a 1v3 as Chala is downed, and Rampy is very, very low. So this is easily winnable. We just saw Redeemer be able to pull this clutch off, but the diffuser being down is going to be a major thorn in the side of Easley, and 1/3 of that diffuse time will go inside a study. What little was left of Rampy is now gone. Easley will find one so far, but cannot get past Redeemer. If anybody knows his way around a Maestro, in this map in particular, it's going to be Redeemer, understanding the push from study, training the Type 89, and now Space Station Gaming will guarantee themselves 1 point. Rogue staring down match point. Yikes.
Yikes indeed. And that push from the Pulse Shuttle just, oh, what an opportunity. Squandered before our very eyes. I've seen that happen before. I think, you know, a lot of competitive players be familiar with this. One of the hardest things to train into yourself is, you know, you have 3 targets in front of you. Isolate those targets, shoot one at a time, get the kill, then the next kill, and the next kill. It didn't happen in Shuttles, man. You could see it. The process just did not come into play, and he was shooting in between all of them, missing such a juicy opportunity and possibly a recovery of the round. Overall, though, I mean, the setup from Rogue was pretty poor. We had Shuttle playing in study. Why? He's Pulse. He's Pulse. Put him downstairs. We had Slashug peeking in the B site into the main hallway. Why? He's Smoke. Have him do Smoke things. Hold the 90-degree angle. Use your gas canisters to delay the push. What's the strategy?
Not entirely sure. And honestly, from the way that Rogue tried to pull that off, I'm not sure if they know either.
It does seem like they're a little aside themselves right now.
I mean, this isn't so much as SSG playing very well. SSG's playing fine.
Yes, they are.
But a lot of this is Rogue just not looking the way that we've come to expect.
Maybe not comfortable on Villa. It's possible.
I mean, it is definitely possible, but
still a new map.
One of the benefits of best of ones for teams is that you usually don't end up playing on a map that you're not comfortable with. You know, it's not like a best of three system where you find yourself in a situation where, okay, well, we might have to play two maps that we don't really like. Best of ones, the theory is that you should have pretty good control over it.
Not to mention, we have a 7-map pool whittled down to 5 maps, and you know what those 5 maps are. You know, leading into every play week, in case you didn't know, leading into every play week, you know what 5 maps you need to practice. So when you know who your opponent is, you know what your maps are, you have about 6 to 7 days to practice 5 maps. So yeah, you should have a good understanding of all of them by the end of that week on your next play day.
So, 2 minutes in, at stake, the place for third. If Spacestation wins this, they will sit on third in the standings because they do not have the tiebreaker against SK. If Rogue won this matchup, then they would take second place, as they do have the tiebreaker against SK. But a win is out of reach for Rogue. The best that they can hope to accomplish is a tie. Just 1 point, which for neither of these teams edges them that much closer to being able to be one of North America's representatives in Rio. My apologies, not Sao Paulo.
Was last time.
Yeah, I was actually going to say South America, to be fair, but then I realized
really?
that's saying, yeah, I was going to say South America, and then I realized Brazil is in South America. Rio is in Brazil. Oh my gosh. Anyhow,
I figured it out.
I was able to piece that all together. Execute from Space Station here as an Evil Eye stares down Brian. He looks all the way in towards Study, which is where it's positioned. Underneath 90 is where 3 members of Space Station have found themselves congregating. You've also got Shuttle down below. You were trying to figure out exactly why he was in Study. Well, now Shuttle is underneath, which we have seen Pulses in the past thrive in that position, but it also puts yourself in a very dangerous retake position in which you can often get zoned out.
Yeah, if all of your anchors just get shredded and they don't manage to take many people with them, then that just puts you in a really bad retake. Now, Shuttle will take out Rampy. Redeemer droning for Rampy, but a little too late there on the drone, and the shield of Blackbeard gone now. He was so influential in the previous attack. Easily also gets Chala. This is looking great for Rogue so far. As Space Stations start to fall one by one, they also have very little time. So this push seems to be thwarted. Gas canisters being used properly now, as they will deny the push in through the B doorway. Redeemer gonna go for it, but he will be lit up. He makes it behind Vault Door, but easily will get Brian, who is Redeemer's cover. In the main hallway, there's also another defender. Easily will get Redeemer, and another for Easily. We've seen the Maestro clutches really shine through in this match, and Easily will just shut down this push almost single-handedly. What a round for him, and Rogue stay in it.
That gun is absolutely bonkers.
It is. You know, I was having a conversation with somebody. It was like, is the Alda too powerful? And I think it might just be a little bit much.
I mean, the Alda definitely does a lot. Its hipfire spread tightens as you shoot it more. It comes equipped with an ACOG. Its recoil is pretty respectably manageable for the amount of damage it does and its fire rate. It's got a huge amount of, it's got a very large magazine. Its reload is quite slow, and the gun itself is quite large. It's gun model, but other than that, it might be one of the strongest weapons that defenders have available at their disposal right now. But that's not something for us to worry about. That's something for a possible balancing team or developers to worry about. Should they agree that the gun could possibly use a down tune, similar to what we saw from previous defenders' weapons, such as the MP7 and the 416 losing their ACOGs, or even the Scorpion losing some bullets and losing some damage and increasing recoil, etc.
All those SMG sidearms. I think the SMG sidearm adjustment was probably one of the better weapon adjustments we've seen in recent history.
Oh, I think that, and I mean, not to delve too much into the way that the development goes here, but I think it's definitely made operators have to rely on their primary a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've still seen Bearing 9 kills. We've seen that for Vigil and Dokkaebi, they've switched to the C75, which I think is probably a smart idea. And I mean, Smoke is still running the SMG-11 because tap firing it makes it very manageable, but they're not the same weapons they used to be.
And there's still a way, I think there's still people who can master that SMG-11. You know, there's definitely some names that pop into mind, like Bosco, for example, who just still excels on Smoke. All that said, though, Rogue absolutely shutting out Space Station in the previous round. Just without question. Oh, yeah, okay. I was wondering what that was for. Still such a new map. Brian's gonna place a Claymore to protect himself as he attempts to drone into Kitchen. So this is going to be Spacestation trying to open up from below, as is evident by the fact that they're droning it and currently clearing it secondarily. And third, they have 2 soft destructors who will be really proper in opening up that ceiling. Of course, Thinking Nade going to be the main thing there. The Buck, he will be one of the more protected resources for the attack. Chala allowed to enter into Master with relative ease. It does not seem that Rogue are keen on denying him this push, but it's a lot of control that Chala has been able to establish as a result. There is no Pulse in play for Rogue this time, so the C4 from below is a non-starter. But there is because of that, more stalwart anchor. The Clash being the new operator brought to the defense.
Droning out all of these Goobines here. The Legion will rotate. Oh no! Eclipse getting pinned down inside a bathroom, and that will be an easy opening kill for Chala, and Echo will be the opening death for Rogue 2 times now in their defense. And I mean, before it was a Jaeger, which means that you lose that potential fragging power of the Carbine, but you're losing a Legion, and that is really important. That one wall will be opened up inside of Trophy, and now Slash has been down, and the stars are aligning for Space Station as Chala will collect his 2nd kill. Super walks backwards right into the waiting arms of Rampy on Repel, and it is a 5v2 with Space Station looking to just close this one out. They've got 60 seconds and abundance of time, and Shuttle and Easily are going to have to put in an immense amount of work. Easily looks all the way through that open Hibana hole, tries to go for the rotate,
no.
gets caught in a crossfire between Rampy and Brian, and Shuttle, who is currently the top fragger, will need to do all the rest for his team. But nothing will happen there. Thinking Nade will finish it off, and Space Station, did they win the trade with Shuttle for Brian? Well, you can't tell from this matchup, but this matchup in particular, Space Station walks away with the victory, 6-2 over Rogue.
Wow, I don't know what to make of that. Rogue seemed like they were asleep at the wheel. We haven't seen this from them in a long time, and it's very possible that it's the roster changes finally starting to trip them up. There were some questionable decisions made in that last round in particular. 3 to 4 of those deaths from Rogue were them being caught in rotations. I mean, the Legion was trying to come out of bathroom. Why was the Legion trying to come out of bathroom? So he could impact trick, very likely, impact trick the master wall, where the Hibana was opening things up. But then if that's the plan, if that's even something you're trying to consider, which it should be, then why is he playing in bathroom in the first place? I mean, there were just so many questionable decisions made by Rogue. And Space Station was there, rubbing their hands going, all right, I'll take it, thanks.